Hi, everybody. Watch the continuing video with Dr. Templeman talking much more about this incredible product and why you
the
need it.
world's one of the world's authorities on the mangosteen fruit, and that's why we're here today. And I'm going to start it off with a bang of a question: is in one or two sentences, why would you absolutely positively never stop taking mangosteen?
I cannot afford all of the supplements which I would want to use. I believe firmly that diet, exercise, and supplementation are the three legs of the stool of health. And therefore, there are choices to be made. How much exercise, what kind, what are you going to eat, what will your diet be composed of, and of the multiple type of supplements that are available, which ones are you going to spend your money on in order to get the best bang for your buck? And in my case, the mangosteen stands alone with cannabis as the only botanical, and that means something derived from plants that would be used as a supplement that has such broad reach that, in my experience, it has affected in patients I've been working with all of the 11 organ systems.
Wow. That's one of the most compelling things I've heard you say. When the first time you said it, I put it in the back of my mind. I thought about it afterwards. And to be able to impact one of 11 organ systems. So let's peel the skin off of that one. That's the circulatory system, which allows the blood to get through your body and nurture your cells, every cell in your body, the lymphatic system, the respiratory system, the integumentary system,
Big yeah.
I pronounced that wrong, didn't I? It's integumentary system.
That's correct.
Which is skin, glands, and nails and hair. The endocrine system, which keeps your hormones at the right level.
Endocrine, David.
Endocrine system, the gastrointestinal, urinary, musculoskeletal, nervous system. The reproductive system, which is how we work together our organs to reproduce. And then finally, the immune system, which protects us from organisms. It protects your organs from diseases. So, doctor.
Well, sometimes they call that last one the lymphatic system, and the immune system is in there, but there's a bit of a circulatory system that goes along with it. But yes, I treated the years that I was using mangosteen and that I had an active practice. I calculated that roughly I had treated 32,000 different people.
Wow.
So that's really a lot of people. Now, that was the number of people that I treated. Did I treat them all with mangosteen? No. But I saw 32,000 people during the time that I had my active practice. And the fact is that I was convinced of the validity and the use of the mangosteen. In other words, the body, we don't decide like you do with a drug. We're going to take this drug and it's going to mess around in this particular enzymatic reaction. That's not what we do with supplements. You give the supplements to the body in adequate amounts in order that the body can decide where they will be used and how they will be used. And of course, depending on the problems that different individuals have, the body is going to direct the elements in the mangosteen to that area in order to hopefully affect some difference. We don't decide that. We can guess at doses. We can guess at mechanisms of action. We have now, if you look at something like Google Scholar, you'll find 26,000 different references and citations. When you look at something that's purely medical, such as PubMed, you'll have a lot fewer, but still about 7,000 research papers. So we know a fair bit about how it works in the body, but obviously not enough to explain why it could possibly have an effect in all 11 organ systems, which is what I feel that I have observed.
That's just, it's just such an impactful that I can take one, I take the Xanthomist and it can help lend support to 11 major organ systems. So there's a statistic or a fact, and I read recently, and it said lifespan is the period of time you live. Health span is the period of time you live well and healthy. So lifespan has doubled over the last 100 years, but a lot of that has been, people are burdened with chronic illness such as heart disease, diabetes, etc. And when we look at health span, I talk about, I don't want lifespan longer with terrible health. I would hope for, try to pursue, and that's why I take Xanthomist, is the moment you told me 11 major organ systems that can help. And then, as you said earlier in the show, the body decides where to send the mangosteen, where your body needs help.
Yeah, when you use a medicine, you're depending upon the doctor's expertise and, of course, the pharmaceutical manufacturers and what they have been able to do. And in Western medicine, very different from Oriental medicine, we try and get silver bullets. In other words, we try and get a drug that has no side effects, that will go into the body and interfere in one specific enzymatic reaction and really leave everything else alone. But so far, all we've got is shotgun blasts. We don't have silver bullets. And the side effects of medication are really what makes them dangerous. And they are deadly. All medicines can be very dangerous.
Yeah, it's amazing. Can you share with me, in the last week, I send you over some Xanthomist reviews, testimonials, etc., personal testimonials every once in a while, or maybe you've received them from someone else. What's one that has touched you recently? There's those moments I hear somebody have an incredible review of the product because it did something for them that they had never expected and they were in need. And it just makes me feel like I'm in the right business with the right product, with the right people.
Yes. When you read people's experience with a supplement that you are recommending, it is always satisfying when you see that your hopes have borne fruit, that some of what you have hoped for people has actually occurred. And again, here, I want to make a distinction that I think people don't understand. And that is that when a good result from the use of mangosteen happens, it can happen for one of two reasons. One, the mangosteen with the multiplicity of elements in it, which can affect chemical processes in the body, is going to be used by the body to make up for a shortage, difference, deficit, etc. And the outcome will be that something which was running not particularly well begins to run better because it has now what it requires in order to go forward. And that could fall under the rubric of a cure or whatever, but we don't use cure, treat, etc. Nonetheless, it is an alteration in a good direction of something that wasn't working well. Now, that's one kind. There is another kind, which is, I believe, very, very important and is sometimes overlooked, and skeptics will turn their nose up at it, and that is called placebo effect. And placebo effect is not particularly well understood as yet, but everything that is done as research on placebo effect is kind of astounding, and it seems to be more and more important as time goes on. And that is that if, for whatever reason, you are strongly expecting a beneficial effect from something that you do or take in the case of a supplement, that will actually happen, not necessarily because of things that are in the supplement alone, but it may well be augmented by things that your brain alone is able to do because it believes.
Oh,
It's a form of faith.
that's
You don't go-
fantastic.
yeah, you don't have to go very far in life to understand that people who are religious, strangely enough, do better in almost all of the measures of health that than people who don't believe. And the difference between them is faith. And
Right.
so it seems that if you have a placebo effect, it's because your brain moves forward on a type of faith and corrects what's gone wrong in the body where it is
Wow.
the primary organ of correction.
Fantastic, Dr. Templeman. Um,
Oh, you wanted to hear the best study, the best
yeah,
one.
please.
We have a lady in Canada who has trigeminal neuralgia. Now, trigeminal neuralgia is an awful disease. And once present in its worst form, it literally drives people to suicide on occasion. It is pain, nervous pain, that is in the head and neck, and it is a shock, like an electric shock, because it happens to be a disease of the nervous system itself. As a matter of fact, of the trigeminal nerve, which serves all this part of the face and head, and it is terrible in the sense that we don't have very many medications that, even in large amounts, tend to help everyone. And so it's an awful, awful thing. And this lady has had it for many years. She has had it in a terrible form. Her life was transformed in a bad way when it occurred. And she has been unable to find medications that would allow her to live pain-free. She added to a reducing number of medications the mangosteen in the form that your company sells with the mist, and she has been pain-free for a number of months. And I ask her to report to me about every month, and she does. And the effect was minor at the beginning and became stronger and stronger, as if the body were taking some element from this mangosteen and supplying to the nervous system.
Wow.
And being able to eliminate this. So a very life-destroying disease that coincidentally, because we cannot presume cause, but coincidentally got better when the body received the elements in the mangosteen. We can't say that it cured, we can't say that it did anything, because the kind of proof in a laboratory that would be required to be able to say that does not exist. But that doesn't change the outcome.
It's an absolutely great, moving, emotional conviction. It just helps your conviction. And I really appreciate that. I just, one last question before I let you go is just some parting advice for all of the people listening around the world.
Well, most people, if you're like me, don't have all the money that you want. And therefore, you have to make choices. And sometimes when you have a problem that all of the medical science that you have submitted yourself to has been unable to adequately address, then it's probably better to give your body something that is multifaceted in the way that the body uses it, and see if, in combination with the medical interventions, it's going to make a difference, because we have many, many examples. For example, there are superbugs that are immune to the antibiotics that we used to use to control them. And yet, in experimental work with the mangosteen and animals, if you give the mangosteen with the antibiotic, which did not work, it works.
Wow.
So we don't know what the body has done. We simply do not know. But we know that a two-pronged attack, an antibiotic that used to work and may work again when used with a supplement, that's a potential tremendous thing. So we don't know how it may help. And it may not help everybody with the same problems, and it may not help in the same way. But does it help enough for you to take the hard-earned money that you have and spend it differentially on a supplement that has a good chance of being what your body requires, containing what your body requires? I think that's the advice I would give. And I've followed it now for a long period of time, and not just with a professional interest, but with personal interest. And it's the one thing that I have, quote, never done without, close quotes. And that's been tough, because the commercial entities that were looking after it, were sicker than they thought, and some of them have died. But the product is still out there. And the cool thing is that everybody who used to buy it from one company now buys it from another company and follows it from company to company. And I think that that's the kind of loyalty that only can exist if it works.
Dr. Templeman, thank you very much. That was everybody. I just encourage you to play this one as a replay. Send it to people that you know. It's really valuable information. And I get more out of it the second time that I listen.